welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how I created this sunset beach tumbler using dispersion colors, UV resin, and glitters from BAMF Customs. This is definitely one of my favorite tumblers. I really like it. I really enjoyed making it, and I can't wait to share all the details with you guys. So originally when I started filming this, I didn't realize I was filming my setup and then not filming me actually spray painting the cup. So if you want to see how I spray multiple colors on a cup, I did that video last week and I will tag it below in the description. I will be able to show you a cool little trick that I learned when spray painting, which helps keep the inside of your cup clean, which is you can get these dollar store, Dollar Tree cones, set your cups on them, and it prevents the inside from getting spray paint, which leaves you with less cleanup at the end. So you can see it here, and that's all the spray paints that I use, and now you'll see the finished product because I thought I was stopping my filming, but I wasn't, but that's okay. So I am using a 35-ounce Skinny Plus from Stainless Steel Depot. They no longer sell the plus versions, the Skinny Plus versions, but I had some left over in my stock. So here you will see me start off with glittering. I did a very thin layer of epoxy. I'm using CCDIY Ultra Clear Fast Set. All of the glitters that I am using in this video is from BAMF Customs. I love Bruce's glitter. They are amazing, and I thought these colors would be perfect for the Sunset Beach Cup. I'm not going to go into detail about doing the ombre process here with the multiple colors, as I just did a video for it last week, so I'll just let you guys watch and enjoy or skip forward to the next step. So after my epoxy was cured, I went ahead and added a top coat layer of epoxy. I did use CCDIY Ultra Clear Fast Set here. It's at a funky angle, but that's just because I was filming two cups at the same time, because I'm also doing another regular beach version of this cup. I used about 30 milliliters of epoxy for this layer. Now, once that epoxy completely cures, we are going to move on to the fun part, which is the waves. I used dispersion colors from CCDIY, as well as their new UV resin, which I'm obsessed with, and their white Mica powder and their epoxy pigment armor art. Now, I've done beach cups in the past where I use the actual regular epoxy for the wave portion, and I feel like the time it takes to cure can mess up the waves that you do create. So what I'm doing here is I'm mixing the UV resin with the dispersion colors. I don't need a lot of the UV resin, and I don't need a lot of the dispersion colors because they're super pigmented. I will list the colors that I used below. So I had already mixed the white portion, the wave portion, prior to the videotaping it, but I did the white Mica, the white armor art, and the UV resin. I found UV resin to be a great tool for doing these designs on this cup, as I was able to get the waves where I wanted them to be and then use the UV light to freeze them there. It also wasn't as thick as epoxy, so you didn't have to do a bunch of layers to make the cup smooth and a bunch of sanding. It was smooth already. So next I just started stringing out the portions of the wave with the white mixture that I made. There's no method to this or placement. I just kind of put them where I thought they would look nice. You also don't want to do too much because it's easier to add more than it is to take away. Once you do some of the white lines, you can go through with a little bit of the UV resin, and this kind of helps make it flow a little bit when you are creating the design. So I just took just a little bit of the UV resin and put it behind some of the white. You don't have to do this. I just found that it made it a little bit easier to move it around. So then I took a hard plastic straw and just started blowing towards the design, moving the UV resin around until I got the waves that I wanted. The armor art, the white armor art, helps create cells in the white mixture, which you kind of see here. And being able to have a long working time with the UV resin, because it doesn't cure until you put the UV light over it, really helped be able to take my time with working with each of the waves. So I basically just did this and I just kept moving it around until I got to a place where I liked what it looked like. And then once it was all said and done, I used the UV light by CCDIY, and I also have an Amazon one that I had bought when I had used other UV resin to cure this cup and another cup at the same time. Now I did keep it rotating, and because I had the UV resin all over the cup, now I didn't do like a thin layer on the whole cup either, because that's not what the UV resin is meant for. I'm strictly using the UV resin for the waves in the design. So what I did was I set up the lamp by placing it on like 2 other tumblers so that it could consistently be covering the cup as it rotated, and I just had to restart it several times. So it took probably about 10 minutes to 15 minutes for it to completely cure enough to where I could go ahead and add on that next layer of epoxy. So here you see me using my finger to kind of move it around and then taking the straw and moving it around. Do whatever you think is best. There's a lot of different ways that you could do this to get the look that you're wanting. Once I felt good about the waves, I moved on to the sunset portion of it by taking the colored mixtures that I had made and using my gloved finger to kind of just smear it around. And I did this with each color, and then I took my finger and took some of the white and dabbed it around the cup as it turned, and then kind of smeared everything together. So almost giving it like a fluffy cloud look, but making it subtle too, so that you can still see the glitter underneath. Again, this is all based on preference, so just do it the way you want to do it, the way you like it, but I definitely recommend using the UV resin with the dispersion colors. I felt my design was completed, again, I used a UV light. I have two. I have one by CCDIY that came with their UV resin, and I also have one from Amazon that I think may have a higher wattage that helped finish curing my cup. So this was the other cup that I was working on that there will be a YouTube video about, hopefully within the coming weeks. But once you're done and the UV resin is cured, you'll go ahead and add a thin layer of epoxy over top. I am using CCDIY's Ultra Clear Fast Set Epoxy on this layer, and I use probably about 20 milliliters to do this layer. So the design that I ended up putting on this cup, I used this Opal vinyl, which I'll link down below where I got it. And I did an offset with it with white Oracle 631 vinyl. And again, I'll link that below as well. So I actually did the reverse weeding method on this. Eventually, I'm not doing it right now. I'm just weeding out the middle letters. But when I went to pull up the rest of the vinyl, it was not cooperating. So what you do is you put transfer tape over the design, you flip it over, and then you weed that way. You can also take the design, put it on your cup, and then weed it there as well. But since I'm doing an offset and I needed to layer this was just the easiest way for me. I did this offset using a method using an app called Fonto. I have a video on how to do that, and I will link that down below. I line up the top portion after I'm done weeding it to the other portion, and I didn't realize that I had accidentally, it was off a little bit, so I did take time off video to realign the letters individually, but yeah. So once I was done applying this on here, you'll see me apply some CCDIY QuickCoat. Metallic-y vinyls can sometimes pop up from the cup when you put epoxy on. It just happens. Sometimes it doesn't stick fully. But if you add CCDIY's QuickCoat to it, it does help keep that down. I only did one layer. I probably should have done 2 layers of that QuickCoat, but hey, it's just all up to preference. So the method you see me using here, I actually learned off of TikTok. Where you put a piece of wax paper over the design so that you can make sure that it's lined up, and it's great for layering vinyl. My issue here was that I did not layer it well or pay attention close enough. So because of that, I did, again, fix the letters you see a little off camera. Once I applied that and I applied the QuickCoat, I then applied 2 layers of epoxy. I did CCDIY's Ultra Clear Fast Set, a layer of that, about 20-25 milliliters. And then once that cured, I did a layer of CCDIY's Artist Resin. And then I was done. And I cleaned it with alcohol, I cleaned the rim, and it was good to go. So thank you guys for watching. You can watch the rest of the video and see how it comes out. I do some close-up of the waves, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Make sure you subscribe, hit the little notification bell, and I'll see you guys next time.